Thursday, the 10th day of October, year of our Lord 2019, and welcome to the John Moore Show. We begin our shows with something that the Socialist Democrats, Communists, Muslims would like to see done away with, especially in the schools, which they pretty much accomplished. That would be the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Prep tip of the day, winter's coming. If you're out in the mountains out west, you already got winter. Prep tip of the day is make sure your boots are ready for winter. Make sure they're clean and good repair. You got a good coating of some special preparation. I like to use Snow Seal. There's other good ones out there. Make sure it gets down in this, your clean boots, that you get the Snow Seal down and the stitching real good. That the shoelaces boot laces are in good condition. That you've got socks that are ready to go. I like merino wool socks. Underwear ready to go. There's merino wool underwear. Don't get cotton long underwear. It's a massive mistake. And of course, hats and gloves. And if you're going to be doing any really vigorous work outdoors, such as construction work, farm work, and so forth, make sure you get outdoor clothing that's suitable for that kind of work. The same kind of clothing construction workers and farmers wear. That's your prepper tip of the day. We got a concealed carry class coming up. This will be Saturday, November the 2nd. My assistant instructor will be Sam Andrews. We'll spend the day together at Freedom Center USA in beautiful Lebanon, Missouri, Saturday, the 2nd day of November. If you want to be part of this class, the tuition is $120. I issue a certificate at the end of the day to get your Missouri concealed carry permit. Give Sam a call. Make your reservation. Telephone number down there. Don't call him right now. It's a bit too early. Give it an hour or so. 417-718-2597. I say again, 417-718-2597. The national scene with the Democrats, Socialists, Communists, they're certainly making complete fools of themselves. This latest narrative involving Ukraine, it's obviously, at least to me, it's obvious it's going to explode in their face. It already has. If anybody who's paying attention, all they're going to do is to bring out in great detail the things being done by Joe Biden and his son. That's all they're going to do there. That's all they're going to accomplish. End of story. How that's going to turn into an impeachable offense for the President of the United States is a mystery to me, because there was no impeachable offense committed. President Trump did what he should be doing, what was proper thing to do, the right thing to do for the President of the United States to make a polite inquiry with the leader of another country to look into criminal activity. There's nothing at all wrong with that. There was no threat of withholding U.S. government military assistance or financial aid or anything of that nature. A lot of good coverage. I've changed my homepage to get my news to an outfit called whatfinger.com. It reminds me of what Drudge used to be 15, 16 years ago, before Drudge became more and more like the National Enquirer, with a bunch of the silliness that they publish these days. One Finger News draws together multiple sources to present the things that us conservative patriots are interested in, and it's a good place to get the day started to find out what's going on in the world. I'm doing some research as to long-term weather events, and there is a number of scientists who believe we may have a mini ice age coming up. There's certainly evidence to support that. One of the main pieces of evidence being when the Gulf Stream stopped, June 12, 2010. A major Hollywood film production titled The Day After Tomorrow, starring Dennis Quaid. The main premise of the film is the consequences of what happens when the Gulf Stream stops. There's a free download at my website. It's about 20 pages. It was paid for, this white paper was paid for with your tax dollars, Department of Defense, United States Department of Defense. They engaged these two investigators, authors, to look into the consequences of what would happen if the Gulf Stream was to either slow down dramatically or stop completely. That's a very catchy title. Very catchy. And that's tongue-in-cheek, of course. An abrupt climate change scenario and its implications for United States national security. In my opinion, it may be 19 or 20 pages of scariest material of nonfiction you'll ever read. Seriously, that's how serious this is. At the time when this was being written, in the early 1990s, the scientists already knew that the Gulf Stream was slowing down, and that had the scientists very, very concerned. At the time of publication, there's some disagreement, at least as far as I can tell, about how much mass and velocity the Gulf Stream had lost, but it had lost a considerable amount of mass and velocity by the time the paper was being published in 2004. Fast forward 6 years. Now, at the time the paper was published, they were estimating 15 or 20 years in the future the Gulf Stream may stop. Well, something else happened. Something else happened. The spring of 2010, we had the British petroleum oil spill. Now, there's a lot of speculation whether the people behind that spill did it with intent to bring on an early onset violent climate change. I don't know, unless they wanted to destroy humanity. I don't know why they would do that. Maybe they did want to destroy humanity. We may never know that. Regardless, the British petroleum oil spill broke the back of the Gulf Loop current. Now, that's the ocean current in the Gulf of Mexico that used to, past tense, used to come out between Florida and Cuba and join up with the rest of the Gulf Stream, going north along the east coast of Florida, which it still does, by the way. There's still a Gulf Stream. The Gulf Stream currently goes up the east coast of Florida, past Georgia, South Carolina, gets to about Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, and starts going north by northeast, which it's always done for more centuries than we know. The Gulf Stream was given its name, by the way, by Ben Franklin. Now, however, since June 12, 2010, and this is easily verifiable, by the way, the United States Navy publishes a brand new map every 24 hours showing all the ocean surface temperatures worldwide. And so you can easily find this yourself, and I got a link on my website. Now, instead of going all the way across the Atlantic Ocean to the British Isles, where it would split up, past tense, would split up, past tense, some going north towards Scandinavia, the other rest going south towards France. Now it just goes out into the ocean a few hundred miles, does a little loop-to-loop, and that's it. It's finished. No more Gulf Stream. I've frequently mentioned the past 9 years since the Gulf Stream stopped, that we're living that film, The Day After Tomorrow. We're living it in slow motion. What Hollywood does in the film is speed up what doesn't, what's naturally occurring. They speed it up to where it takes place over a matter of just a few short months as opposed to years, which is reality. It does take years in reality. That summer, 2010, myself and Dr. Bill Deagle, we interviewed Dr. Luigiane Zangari twice. Dr. Zangari is a PhD scientist living and working in Italy with other scientists in North America and in Europe, doing one thing and one thing only, studying the Gulf Stream. That's all these guys do, and gals. I assume there's some women on the team, I don't know. That's all they do. Now, Dr. Zangari doesn't speak great English, but he speaks okay English. You can understand what the guy's saying. And we interviewed him the third Friday and fourth Friday of July 2010. That first interview, that third Friday, this is on Genesis Communications, where Dr. Deagle was at the time. He told us, we believe the Gulf Stream has stopped. We're not positive. We need to recheck our calculations. The following week, the fourth Friday, he stated the following: yes, in fact, the Gulf Stream did stop June 12th this year, 2010. One of those interviews, I don't recall exactly which one, not that it matters. On one of those interviews, he surprised me with some knowledge I did not have. And this is very critical for all of you out there, all of us on the entire planet. The Gulf Stream used to, past tense, the Gulf Stream used to regulate the jet stream. You may think, well, what's the big deal, John? Well, it's a massive deal. Wherever you might be, northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, near the equator, there's about 5 miles above your head, there's something called the jet stream. There's 3 jet streams: northern hemisphere, equatorial, and southern hemisphere. We hear a lot about human manipulation of weather, and that does happen. There's no denying that. No point in denying it, on one hand. On the other, humans cannot manipulate all weather all the time. Human beings don't have that capability. What does control and decide the outcome of much of our weather is these 3 jet streams: northern hemisphere, equatorial, and southern hemisphere. Of course, we're focused here on the northern hemisphere. That's where most of the people live on this planet. That's where most of the agriculture takes place, in the northern hemisphere. Regulating the jet stream means a more or less dependable cycle of weather: winter, spring, summer, fall, where the men and women involved in agriculture, whether it's growing corn, wheat, soybeans, fruits and vegetables, raising cattle, whatever it might be in agriculture, that they have a fairly dependable cycle of weather that they can count on year after year, decade after decade. No, it's not 100% reliable, but it's been fairly reliable for quite a few centuries. That's gone. That ended June 12th, 2010. That summer in Moscow, now Moscow has something very few places. Moscow has weather records going back 1,000 years. That's, in case you don't know it, that's highly unusual. The summer of 2010, Moscow had the hottest summer in 1,000 years. 6 months later, Moscow had the coldest winter in 1,000 years. This was repeated all over Europe, the British Isles, and Scandinavia, and so forth. All due directly to the Gulf Stream having stopped. A direct cause and effect. I know we have a lot of people, a lot of listeners involved in agriculture listening to my show. I've asked this question many times, and I always get the same answer: that men and women in agriculture, especially growing crops, they build a business, they build a lifestyle, they build a family business with certain foundational beliefs and assumptions. First of all, most importantly, for every one bad harvest they'll get 4 good harvests. Now, that's stood the test of time. Granted, they could get 5 good harvests in a row, they could get 2 bad harvests in a row, but year after year, decade after decade, that's proven to be a business model that they could count on and build a life around it, build a business around it, and have a successful family business. That's gone also. That's gone also. The farmers who own their land outright, who have their $1 million plus worth of equipment paid for, who have a good inventory of seeds for future planting, maybe also an inventory of the fertilizer and other things they use, they're going to be in pretty good shape because they can survive more bad harvests than people who don't have those resources. Of course, the major corporations that are involved in agriculture, they've got the deep pockets to survive the bad harvests. Of course they do. I can't tell you that a mini ice age is coming. I can tell you that it's certainly a possibility, along with all the other things that we're concerned about. You know, that's the mini ice age is not in our face. What's in our face is the socialist, communist, Democrats, Muslims that want to destroy our country. That's what's in our face. They want to take down this president. One, a very dear friend of mine who was a refugee from the Czech Republic. When he told me a year and a half ago that Hillary would run again, I thought that he had a loose grip on reality. Well, his prognostication is proving to be correct. There's all the declared candidates on the Democratic side. They're all fools and idiots. Every one of them. And they continue to make complete fools and idiots themselves in public. Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, is coming across as the voice of reason, the voice of sanity, the voice of somebody that you can trust to be president of the United States. I think they got her medications leveled out for the time being. I don't know how long that can last. This woman has very severe health issues. Very severe. And if you haven't seen the videos, I'm sure you can still find them on YouTube of her and her physical issues, just being able to walk, for example, and other things. But for the time being, she comes across as the voice of reason. She appears to be a healthy woman, which she's not. And we have a break. All right, we are back. Let's go. We're back here on More here on Thursday, the 10th of October. We have an R&R coming up. R&R means rest and recuperation. It'll be fun. It'll be romantic. Valentine's Day is right in the middle of the cruise. A Royal Caribbean Cruise Line cruise. The ship will be the Harmony of the Seas. Best time of the year to be away from the cold and ice in February. Oh, yes. I'll be there. Leon Green will be there. We hope to get news soon that Sam Andrews will join us. That's not firmed up yet. And we'll get together every day to exchange ideas in great detail, much more detail than we can on a radio talk show. We'll have dinner together every evening. All the details are at my website at thelibertyman.com. You've got until the end of October to reserve your cabin for you and your sweetheart. And if you don't have internet access, give our cruise director a call, Betsy Murphy. She'll mail you a full-color brochure. She'll give you all the details on the telephone. Betsy Murphy, our cruise director. Here's her telephone twice, slowly, 636-530-9502. I say again, 636-530-9502. Yeah, the political scene is in our face. Our opposition, the socialists, communists, Democrats, Muslims, at the top, at the very top, they have no ethics whatsoever. The track record of similar people in other countries has been to cause whatever social disorder and murder that they need to accomplish their goals. What's the term they use? Need to break a few eggs to make an omelet. I believe that's a direct quote. They're serious. They're very serious about ruining and destroying this country. They've been at it for decades. They can see the goal. They thought the golden ring was in their hands. When Hillary did not win the election, they became, basically, what's it called? Trump derangement syndrome. It's an amazing thing to observe, and it's all over that side of the aisle, of course. They're determined to get Donald Trump out of office. They know, as I know, and as many of you know, another 4 years of Donald Trump means at least one, possibly two more Supreme Court justices, hundreds of federal judge appointees, and the complete dismantling of not only what Hussein Obama did for 8 years, but 2 Bushes and a Clinton in addition. We got a lot of repair work to do. I read recently that somebody, a federal employee, he said, a patriot, he said, we can't trust anybody who has a GS-15 rating or higher. That's a pay grade rating in the federal government system, the GS-15 or higher. We can't trust anybody with a GS-15 rating or higher. Well, we got decades to undo, and if anybody can undo it, Donald Trump will be the guy. I was really hopeful when I read that young Mr. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy's son, was going to be in charge of exposing how bad vaccines are to the public as part of the Trump administration. That didn't get going. After about 3 or 4 weeks, he was out of the White House, and my belief is that President Trump decided not to take on these very powerful people, the pharmaceutical industry, and wait until the second term. I hope that's what's going on. I don't have a direct line to the White House, but I really hope that's what's going on. I recently got a refrigerator magnet listing all the vaccines that American children are supposed to get. It's horrific. It's absolutely horrific. Of course, once you understand the true nature of vaccines and that they really don't do what they pretend to do, and that they have mercury and aluminum in them, what more do you need to know? I avoid all vaccines, even tetanus. I used to think the tetanus was the one safe one, but after listening to Dr. Deagle, no, I won't even get a tetanus shot anymore. I believe the last one I had was probably 18 or 20 years ago. But this is in our face. The people that oppose us, they are determined to bring down this country. We all need to be aware of it. Be sure you identify and support a Constitution-believing sheriff in your county. That's as basic as it gets. The one thing the New World Order is fearful of is Constitution-believing, Constitution-supporting sheriffs in more than 3,000 counties in this country. Many of these counties, by the way, are bigger than entire states back east. County sheriff is the top law enforcement official in any county. Well, in most counties. They've taken that power away from many of the sheriffs in some of the urban, suburban areas. But in most of the 3,000 counties, the FBI cannot operate in that county, DEA, any of these other federal agencies, without the permission and consent of the county sheriff. They can't. That's how. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here on Thursday, the 10th day of October. This is the 24 minutes I look forward to every Thursday when we talk about a marvelous healing device called the Energy Cleaner. We begin these conversations with my friend Tom Berryhill, the manufacturer of the Energy Cleaner, giving us our disclaimer. Good morning, Tom.
Hi, John. Good morning. Okay. We're not doctors or medical professionals. We don't diagnose, treat, or cure any illness or disease. The information discussed today is for your education and entertainment only. If you have a medical condition requiring treatment, you should utilize the services of a medical doctor, chiropractor, or other competent practitioner.
Okay, thank you, sir. I spoke to Steve Whitman Monday. He's in the process of closing down the fish camp for the season. He asked me to get back with him next week to make arrangements for him to come on the show and relate his story and talk about his upcoming book that he's working on. This is radio. Many people don't have a clue who Steve Whitman is and why he should come on this show. It was 6 years ago, last week, Tom, the first day of October, 6 years ago, that Steve was shot 3 times with a .45 caliber pistol, twice in the chest, once in the right hand. And his story includes how and why the Energy Cleaner and John Moore saved his life that day. And it's a powerful story with which it should be a movie, quite frankly. It would be a very dramatic movie if done properly. All the circumstances leading up to that day, what happened that day, how he survived that day, how he's made a absolutely complete recovery from those injuries. And the energy cleaner was with him at every step of the way, helping him before the incident to recover from a back injury, recover to the point where he once again started lifting weights, which he had not done for more than 20 years because of an older injury. The energy cleaner giving him the strength and the agility to leap off that tractor before a fourth and final kill shot, and then the energy cleaner being part of his unusually rapid recovery, unusual to the point that when he came in for the first checkup after surgery and being home to recover for a couple of weeks, that the medical doctor brought witnesses in from the other parts of the floor there at the hospital to be witnesses as to Steve's unusually rapid recovery. So hopefully we'll have Steve on next Thursday as soon as possible, if not next Thursday, to be able to tell everybody his story. I like to get him on about twice a year, Tom. We always have new listeners, and his story is so heartwarming and so intense and so special that everybody needs to hear it, don't they, sir?
Oh, I think so, John. Absolutely. And then also, I really hope that Steve talks a little bit about his wife's situation when she recuperated from lupus. That amazes me. I knew Steve was doing good, but then to hear that his wife, just by sleeping on the energy cleaner, had her lupus totally go away. She continues to test negative for that. That is amazing in itself.
It is. It is. His wife had been an aerobics instructor in years past. She contracted lupus, which is a very debilitating disease. She had to give up her passion of being an aerobics instructor. She was taking a pharmaceutical product that if you take it long enough makes you go blind. Isn't that special? And it was an inadvertent, unexpected bonus that because she was sleeping on an energy cleaner pad also, that the doctors can't find she ever had lupus. I wrote a letter to the boyfriend and manager of a well-known Hollywood celebrity who's dealing with lupus, offering an energy cleaner. Never got a response back. Doesn't surprise me, but all I could do is make the offer. And it's an amazing device. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's what we're talking about. First of all, at my website, at thelibertyman.com, there's a drop-down menu under Products. You scroll down there to the energy cleaner. You can see photographs of it. You can read up on the patent application information and read the wonderful testimonials by from people like Steve Whitman and others. Energy cleaner is an electronic healing device. That's what it is. It puts out a healing electrostatic signal. No, it's not a TENS unit. No, it's not a Rife frequency generator. This is entirely different technology. About the size of a cigar box, if you happen to know what a cigar box looks like, which many people don't anymore. It has no on-off switch, no gauges, no dials. Simply one place to plug in one wire, which hopefully would go to one of the mattress pads that I offer for sale, and one LED light that alternately flashes red or green, telling you two things. First of all, it's working. Second of all, it's changing polarity. Now, it's powered by 9D as in Delta, 9D cell batteries. We recommend the dollar store house brand, their carbon zinc batteries. They put out the best signal, the cleanest signal that works the best with the energy cleaner. Do not use rechargeable batteries. If you use the more expensive copper tops and so forth, they'll work okay, but there's a slightly superior signal from the dollar store house brand batteries, the carbon zinc batteries. Put a paper tag on the side of the energy cleaner with a date to change the batteries 1 year away from the installation date. Why do we do that? To help avoid any possibility of leakage from these batteries, which can cause a lot of damage to these energy cleaners, can't they, Tom?
Well, it can, and it does. From time to time, people will forget to change the batteries. And sometimes, John, those batteries will leak and cause so much damage the thing can't be salvaged. They have to get a new unit. But in many cases, we can recover an energy cleaner that has been damaged by battery leakage. We can clean them up, and most of the time the person using it can clean it up good enough for it to keep working. But it's best to avoid that in the first place by changing those batteries on an annual basis. It's not too hard to do. Just treat it like you do a smoke detector. Change the batteries on the first of the year if you want, something like that. Easy to remember date, or put a tag on there. And some people use their smartphone. They put a memo in there that gives them an alarm signal when it's time to change those batteries. Let that phone do the work for them.
Well, that would certainly be a plan there that would work. We focus on a couple of things here with the energy cleaner. First of all, what the energy cleaner does is this electrostatic signal goes into your body. If you got the mattress pad that I offer for sale, your body is immersed 8 hours a day, 7 days a week in this signal that goes to every cell in your body. There's billions of cells in your body. Flushing out toxins, bringing in fresh nutrition. That may sound simplistic, but it's very important. Every cell in your body is a tiny, tiny little pump that brings in nutrition and flushes out toxins. When they start getting sluggish and slowing down, that's when issues begin. And the energy cleaner addresses those issues right there on the spot. Several things that are outward signs of the healing process and what it's doing benefits. I have to trim my nails every 4 to 5 days, Tom. I have to get a haircut every 2 weeks. And enhanced and increased nail growth and enhanced and increased hair growth are clear outward signs of improved health, aren't they, Tom?
Oh, they really are, and we hear that same comment from many people. There's just so many other things that can be helped. John, I remember the woman up near Kansas City, Missouri, that got an energy cleaner. It's about 10 years ago now, and maybe 11 years ago, and her friends got it for her. The thing that jogged my memory on that is when you mentioned how Steve Whitman went in for his follow-up care, and the physician brought in everybody that was on duty at the time to witness how he was healing, because nobody would believe it if they didn't see it. And a similar situation happened with this woman. She had a tumor in her throat and tongue that was about almost 5 inches long. And in 2 weeks' time, that thing dried up and went away. Now, I'm not saying the energy cleaner does this, but something happened. They didn't do anything different, but they were checking her to see how they're going to deal with this, which actually involved removing her jaw, and she was going to be grossly disfigured from this. Would have a feeding tube, some sort of a port for a feeding tube, and that's how she would spend the rest of her life. Well,
how horrific!
That thing,
how absolutely
exactly,
horrific!
But it dried up and went away in about 2 weeks. And when she went in for this follow-up, they called in everybody, including the nurses, just everybody, to come in and check this out. And it's totally went away, and that woman is still with us today doing fine. So you just never know. And I always ask people to read between the lines. We're not saying the energy cleaner does all of this. We can't talk openly about some of these subjects in this country. But in this case, it did help this lady, and she's doing just absolutely fine today, all these years later. No, that was not supposed to go away, and it did.
That's so heartwarming. We had a caller and holder. We're at Tim in Pennsylvania. Good morning, Tim.
How are you doing?
Really good.
I just want to let you know, I ordered an energy cleaner. I got it about 5 days ago, and I want to tell you guys, people out there, this is the real deal. I was amazed. To get into specifics, you probably don't need it. You've heard it 100 times. But I was an over-the-road truck driver for 43 years, retired now, in good health, but I had some issues, and within 5 days, 90% of it is resolved. And I just want to tell people this is the real deal. So I tried other alternative health things with mixed results, limited results. This is the best thing I've ever tried.
Well, we're so happy to hear that, Tim, and that's great. And your testimony is going to help a lot of people that have been procrastinating. Now, I need to ask you, Tim. How long did you know about the energy cleaner before you finally bit the bullet and got yourself one?
A year. Because there's so many things out there. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Do you regret 1 year lost?
Oh, yes. In fact,
of course.
I have budgeted next month to get another one for my reading chair with the pad. I got one with the mattress pad.
Right.
And I'm going to get one for my reading chair. We have a beef cattle farm, my son and I here, and like I said, I'm in very good health, but I had some issues and they were holding me back, and it's just unbelievable the results you get. Now, one more thing I wanted to say, these carbon batteries, any Harbor Freight store has those, the non-alkaline carbon batteries. Yeah.
There you go.
And you can get them on the internet from Harbor Freight, but yeah.
There you go.
They do have those.
Absolutely. That's great information. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate the call.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Tom, I had to ask Tim, because we see this all the time. How long did you wait after you found out about the energy cleaner? How long did you wait before you got one? Now, Tim lost a year of being better, a year of more energy, a year of being able to do the things that he wants to do without hesitation. And, of course, he regrets losing a year. And we have hundreds of people listening to you and I right now on the 11th day of October, or the 10th day of October, 2019, that have been listening to you and I every Thursday for weeks, months, maybe a year. And they're going to wake up and smell the coffee. They're going to get on my website, place that order, get an energy cleaner, get a mattress pad, and a couple of weeks later, they're going to regret having waited. We've seen this hundreds of times, haven't we, Tom?
Yes, John, hundreds of times for nearly 20 years. It's amazing, but people do tend to. Yeah, they tend to do that. Yes.
Now I got a toll-free hour line. In addition, now more and more people using PayPal. There's a reason why PayPal is so safe. Here's why: you do not give up your credit card information when you use PayPal. That's pretty neat. So you can use PayPal, MasterCard, Visa. You can call my toll-free hour line 24 hours a day. Very polite young men and women, my hometown, St. Louis. A toll-free order line twice, slowly, 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. Tim's right about the Harbor Freight batteries. Those are the carbon zinc batteries, just like the dollar store house brand. And you can get them online. Don't try to don't try to re-engineer what Tom has put together here. Getting the more expensive batteries, getting rechargeable batteries. Just do what we say, and and don't concern yourself with something that you can't fix. This is not what Tom is recommending with these batteries is not broken and doesn't need to be fixed. I got an email this morning, a gentleman asking about the mattress pads, Tom, so I wrote him a short note back telling him that I reconfigure Biddeford heated mattress pads. The same ones are sold at Macy's. They come with a 5-year factory warranty on them. They're comfortable. They're machine washable. They're as well made as any product of that nature can be, and they work. And we just got Tim from Pennsylvania to tell us it's only been a few days, and typically, I offer a 90-day money-back guarantee, but typically in a few hours to 3 to 5 days, people are going to feel results, aren't they, sir?
That's yes, and sometimes even faster. We've had seminars where people came that were very interested in the technology and wanted to try it, and in less than an hour, and I know in some cases about around 45 minutes or so, they felt relief from their pain issues. So it can be very rapidly, or sometimes, and typically a day or two. maybe 3 days, most people start noticing the differences. And I've also heard over the years from people that will comment on they really didn't have any problems, but they wanted to use this as maybe a proactive type of a device, and it's helped them, and they've continued to have good health for many years. And they really attribute that to the energy cleaner. And some people will say they didn't really notice anything, but then slowly they started realizing that certain little pain issues, different things that had caused them trouble in the past are now gone. It just happens gradually in some cases.
Hold that thought, Tom. We got our last break here. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Thursday, the 10th of October. Well, Tom, this is, as I tell people, this is my home business. You're the manufacturer. I'm the retailer. When I get an order, and I'll be taking care of an order this morning for a mattress pad, I'm the guy that boxes them up. I take them to the little country post office in Cherryville, Missouri, where they go out, United States mail, priority mail. And when I put that box on that counter, I just have this feeling that I'm helping America, that I'm helping America be great again, because there's another family, probably a couple, that's going to have more health, more energy, be able to be more productive, to do the things that they want to do, including helping our country be great again. And it is so very satisfying and so gratifying, Tom, in some small way. We never know. We're all connected some way or another. We've heard the term 7 degrees of separation, which I found to be very true. None of us are more than 3 handshakes away from the Oval Office, if you think about it. So we're all connected. And every American that's healthier and has more energy helps everybody. And that's the business we're in. It is a business, and it's also something that's very satisfying and helps our entire country, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, it does, John. You don't have to look too far to see people hobbling around with pain issues, and we'd like to help everybody if we could, but so many people just don't want to even give it a try. We do the best we can. We get these things out all over the world, and we have helped many thousands of people over the years. And we hope to help many thousands more as we continue on with this journey.
Absolutely. And we will. And we will. If you're doubting Thomas, I encourage that. Just keep in mind, I offer a 90-day money-back guarantee. The owner of Republic Broadcasting, Mr. Stat Miller, would not put up with me for a New York minute if I did not honor that guarantee. I stand behind these machines, and that's why I do this, to give you some peace of mind so you can place your order. Those dollars are hard-earned dollars, and everyone counts. So I stand behind my 90-day money-back guarantee. And that's what we do, Tom. We just help people one family at a time, don't we?
It's exactly what we do, John, and we'll continue on doing that. We've had good results, and, of course, the caller today described his situation. It's helped. I think Tim said he was an over-the-road truck driver. Is that true?
43 years retared. Yep. That's a hard way to make a living.
Yes,
it's tough.
And those guys, they work hard, long, hard hours, and so many of those people have developed back problems from sitting in that truck all those hours, and we've helped so many of them. And of course, that travel pad, John, the truck drivers that have heard this today should consider putting a system in their rig with that travel pad. That helps so much while they're on the road for those long hours. Absolutely.
Well, I use the travel pad when I have a road trip also, and it does help. It's wonderful. It is very subtle on one hand, but after being driving 8 or 10 hours straight, you think to yourself, at least I think to myself, man, I'm not as dog dead tired as I should be. I feel pretty good. Well, Tom, thank you for being with us as always, and we'll do some radio tomorrow morning, sir. We'll talk about emergency survival communications.
I'll be set, ready to go, John.
Okay, sounds good. We're at the top of the hour break. Coming up, we'll be back with the John Moore Radio Show economic advisor, Mr. Steve Hunt. Stay tuned. All your winter gear is in good order. Your boots, socks, underwear, hats, gloves. No assumptions. Stuff gets misplaced. Stuff gets lost. Stuff gets worn out. winter's nigh upon us, and make sure you've got all those items ready to go. We have a patient waiting in the green room, my friend Steve Hunt. Steve is the John Moore Radio Show economic advisor. If you go to my website at thelibertyman.com, you'll see what looks like a Christmas gift there at the top of my homepage, red with a gold ribbon on it. You just click on that. I'm clicking on it right now, and you're at Steve Hunt's landing page for Swiss America. Steve had his own business for quite a few years. Swiss America said, Steve, why don't you come back and get back with us? And Steve thought about it, and he talked to his wife about it, and he said, yeah, I'll come back to Swiss America. And so he's back, and he loves it. And we're going to talk about the economy and what you can do to insulate yourself from what might be coming at us. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. How are you?
Really good, sir. Well, the machinations of the geopolitical scene continue to spin wildly out of control. But about once a day, though, I'll read a little article, sometimes pretty small, talking about the historically large volumes of gold and silver, especially gold, being bought by Russia and China. And that's being bought for a reason. They're not buying it because they like shiny metal, are they?
Well, no. I mean, it's, the funny thing is some numbers just came out that said that China and Russia just bought 251 tons of gold so far this year. I mean, they understand it. A lot of other countries understand how important gold is, and especially when you're going through economic uncertainty, which, I mean, that's the epitome of what China's doing right now with their economy. Is their currency's been devalued over and over and over, and they know that there's a change on the horizon, and there's a lot of rumors out that they've been talking about some currency stuff on with their Chinese yuan and what they should do with it, and if they should back it with even more gold. They have a small position of gold that backs their currency now, so there's a lot of things going on. There are.
Well, it's time for people to wake up and smell the coffee and understand that what Russia and Chinese governments are doing, they're doing for a very good reason. They're doing it because they feel they have no choice. They're doing it because they're not just observers of what's going on. They make things happen. And what their intention is to destroy the American economy, which of course means destroying of the American dollar. And their intent is to be the new world leaders in the new world global economy. Right, Steve?
Correct. It's that's the big thing is everybody's trying to compete against the United States. The United States is supposedly the benchmark for economic freedom, and right now they're all trying to destroy us, and that's why they keep devaluing their dollar. That's why they're trying to do these trade issues where if they devalue their dollar, then we have to give them more goods, and we're getting ripped off, and that's why Trump's doing what he's doing, trying to battle it back.
Okay, my audio went away. I don't know if anybody... Are you there, Steve?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, my audio went away for a moment, but okay. Well, at your landing page for Swiss America, people can sign up to get some excellent publications. Your telephone number is there. That telephone number is 800-630-1491. So if somebody calls you up and says, Steve, what can you mail me to bring me up to speed on this economy? What are you going to do for them folks?
Well, I've got a whole bunch of different things I can send. It really, first I want to talk to the person and see where they're at and what their concerns are. If you have retirement accounts, do you have money sitting in the bank? Do you have money that's you're inheriting? There's so many different scenarios that you might be in, and I have information based on just about every scenario you could be in. And the first step is to get educated. I actually have an offer, to make things even a little bit better. I've been thinking about this a lot, John, over the past couple of weeks, and you and I have talked about the fact that other than no one gave warnings back in 2008, right? And nobody knew that the crash was coming, and we've been trying to bring awareness to this. And it's more now not a warning, but it's also it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for people to take advantage of this situation. And if I told you that if you bought a lotto ticket today, that you're going to make money on it, and that you're going to get something back. I don't know if you're going to hit the big number, but you're going to win something back. chances are you're going to go buy that lottery ticket.
Right. Right.
This is one of those scenarios where gold and silver is going to take a massive run because of the financial system, having these difficulties. And you and I have talked about Morgan dollars extensively on this show.
Right.
So one thing I want to do for your listeners to make this even a better opportunity for listeners is offer a special deal on Morgan dollars.
Okay.
What I want to do, and I talked with I was actually on the phone with the president of the company all morning this morning. He's on board for this. So we're going to offer up to 50 coins per household. So I can't have 10 people calling from one house. 50 coins per house. We're going to do Morgan dollars under our cost considerably for $18.50 a coin.
That's quite a bargain there. Yeah, that's quite a bargain.
I can tell you that this is something that I'm trying to find a way to bring awareness, and I know a lot of people, they sit on that fence and they worry about, should I do this? Should I not do this? Look, Morgan dollars are going for around $28, and if you can get them for $18.50 a coin, and this is an opportunity for you to finally get your foot in the door, see how the process works. You can get your first order of metal and start getting protected. 50 coins isn't a lot of coins, but it's something. It's your first step of insurance. If at $18.50, if that doesn't make you excited, unfortunately, I don't know what will.
Well, I find it exciting, and it's these are beautiful, heavy coins. And I recall as a little boy, I would earn a paper dollar doing some work for my dad, and I would take it to the bank, and I could barely reach over the counter at 8 years old, and the smiling teller would hand me this massive, when you're 8 years old, a Morgan dollar fills up your whole hand. And it's just, it was so large and so heavy and so impressive, and they're beautiful coins. They're absolutely beautiful coins. And 50 of them, that's a good size. That's probably about 2 pounds of silver or so, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a good amount of silver. I mean, they come in tubes of 20 typically, but these are circulated old silver dollars. There's nothing graded. I would never tell nobody to buy a graded silver dollar. I mean, that kind of defeats the purpose of what we're doing, But I would tell you, this is a great way to get your foot in the door, get started with something, and this is a private metal as well, meaning that let's say silver goes to some crazy number, when you liquidate, we're not required to do any type of reporting on your behalf either. So, it's extremely beneficial to anybody who wants to get started.
Well, it is, and if you want to get in on this opportunity, up to 50 Morgan silver dollars per household, give Steve a call at 800-630-1491. I know you're going to get calls. I don't know how many, obviously, but if there's people out there listening all over the country, all over the planet, I know I got listeners in Israel and France and lots in Germany. One lady in Ecuador listens every day, all over the planet, and you're going to get some calls, Steve. And
I will. I learned my lesson from the last time we did the 10-pound silver. This time I have my phone set up, so if you guys call right now, obviously I'm on the radio. Just leave a message, and I'll get back to you, as soon as I can. But this time it cannot crash my phone, so it'll at least go to a voicemail system. That will help everybody out.
Preparation is very good in any endeavor, and whether it's football or selling coins, and that's good. That's good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a surprise for me. I didn't know Steve was going to make this offer, and at the same time, when you're talking to Steve about these Morgan dollars, take a few minutes and talk to him about what your goals and objectives are. Steve's job is to work with people, get to know what their specific goals are, what their needs are, what their hopes and dreams and fears are when it comes to this part of their life, their economic life, and then work out a customized plan to meet those goals and objectives. Right, Steve?
Well, that's just it. Like I said before, it's everybody's needs and wants are a little bit different. So, this might not be the right thing for everybody. Maybe, you have a retirement account. You cannot put these type of coins inside of a retirement account. You can only put in, modern day bullion bars and that kind of thing. So it's every case is extremely unique. But if you have the funds sitting around, don't let them, deteriorate. Don't let it go down. You can go back. The funny thing about this investment is you can go back 40 years, and if you average it out, metals, gold and silver has given you an annual return of between 8 and 9% a year for 40 years. So,
that's phenomenal.
It is phenomenal. There's not another investment on the planet that has done anything near that for 40 years. That's a heck of a track record.
Right. Well, the traditional savings account at a local bank is paying a fraction of 1% now in interest, which is hard to believe also, because they're loaning that money back out at a much higher rate, of course, a tremendously higher rate. But this is what individuals can do on their own. It does not involve the government, does not involve any institutions. It just involves you, individuals out there, listeners to the John Moore Radio Show, personally owning silver coins, personally owning gold coins in a safe location for future use by themselves or their children or grandchildren, part of a legacy to be used in the future, or to be used more closer in time, depending on circumstances. Right, Steve?
Well, that's just it. It's let's take this scenario that's happening in California with these power outages. Some they're saying are from fire, some is because PG&E's having issues. Whatever rumor you want to go off of why they're having these massive power outages. You can't go swipe your debit card today in California, Northern California, and buy any goods. You can't go to the ATM and take any money out. What happens if that type of scenario was on a larger scale? You're going to need something to get by. And that's what some people like to have silver for. I mean, that's a great way to get what you need, and it's that what if scenario. It's great to have it in case you need it.
Well, I could take that Morgan silver dollar to Saigon, which they now call Ho Chi Minh City. I could take it to Paris. I could take it to Brazil, and business people conducting business would instantly recognize what that coin is and its value, wouldn't they?
Well, yeah, you're talking about a coin that has over 100 years, of existence. These coins were made back in the late 1800s. So, a lot of these coins, people are going to know exactly when you say Morgan dollar. You know the dates, you know how old they are, you know what it looks like. It's extremely recognizable. It's not something that just started being made a couple of years ago.
Absolutely. It's a known quantity, known for well more than a century, recognized all over the world as something that's real, something that has an easily determined value. And even in a worst-case scenario, let's say your home was destroyed by a fire in California. It may not be a Morgan silver dollar anymore, but it's still a lump of silver, isn't it?
It sure is. It's not going to go away. It's not a piece of paper that burns up and disappears. It's just going to turn into a big chunk.
Right,
you just found yourself a big nugget.
That's right. So the value doesn't go away. It remains. Year after year, decade after decade, that value remains. That value is solid. Routine, about 3 or 4 times a year, I'll read about somebody in Europe digging up a stash of Roman coins that have been buried for many, many centuries. There's nothing new about human beings storing up value in silver coins and gold coins. That's as old as the hills, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, it's funny you said that. I was watching TV last night, and Expedition Unknown, and he's out there searching for gold and silver treasure. It's the one thing everybody's trying to find. It's funny because people don't realize how this is something that's been of value forever throughout the history of time. The dollar will come and go, the pound will come and go. All these other currencies and forms of way of paying. Eventually your debit card is going to come and go. You're still going to look back. When our kids are adults and our grandkids are adults, and they're still going to say gold and silver. Even at that time, it's always going to be of value to it. There's never a way you're going to say gold and silver is worth nothing. It could never happen.
That's right. That's right. The only people who would say that are people who are trying to sell you stocks and bonds. That's who will
exactly.
say that.
Exactly. They want you to get into a paper asset or some type of paper investment. Unfortunately, they see things a different way, and they, in my opinion, some of these people have blinders on when they're looking at the markets, and they don't want to talk about cycles. I mean, almost every investment is a cycle, but there's been so many, the reason why those blue chip stocks, that they use to value what the Dow is doing and the performance of the Dow, they're supposed to be a beacon of longevity, and they've been in business for such a long time, and they've been in those top 30 stocks for forever. 12 of the top 30 stocks they use as that indicator to see how the stock market is doing have been replaced in the past couple of years.
Right.
People don't realize that. I mean, there's a reason they have to keep changing those companies out, because they're not doing as well as everybody thinks they are.
Well, I spent 3 days with a friend of mine who, as a young man, he's now in his early 60s, but when he was in his mid to late 20s, he did work in that profession as a stockbroker. And he's an ethical man, a Christian, and after several years, he just, his conscience wouldn't let him do it anymore, but he gave me some of the details about the unethical conduct that is routine and part of that industry. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about something solid, something that has spanned the centuries. You've got until the end of the month to make your reservation for the Caribbean cruise. Reserve your cabin. It'll be a lot of fun. Details at my website at thelibertyman.com. You can call my toll-free disregard. You can call my cruise director, Betsy Murphy, at 636-530-9502. Visiting with Steve Hunt, the John Moore Radio Show economic advisor. He's got a special offer. He got clearance from the owner of Swiss America, the president, to make the following offer: up to 50 Morgan silver dollars, up to 50 per household at the price of $18.50 a piece. This is marvelous. It's quite a bargain, to say the least. If you want to participate in this, you need to call Steve when the show's over. He can't answer your phone right now. Answer a telephone. I'll give Steve's telephone number twice slowly. That's 800-630-1491. I say again, 800-630-1491. Steve, call me when the show's over. I'm going to get some of these for my grandchildren, and it's going to be a great Christmas gift for them. And so just put me at the top of the list ahead of all these other people, if you would, please, as a courtesy to me. Okay.
It's funny. One thing I forgot to mention is that $18.50 a coin also includes shipping. There is no shipping charge.
Yeah, when you got something that heavy, that makes a difference. I know in my business, shipping mattress pads and energy cleaners, it's just incrementally, year by year, things get more expensive to ship, and it's become a pretty big deal. I'm so glad you came up with this offer for our listeners, Steve. It's going to help a lot of people. I'm sure there's probably some grandparents out there like myself that when a child gets a gift like this from a grandparent, it's not some plastic gadget that's going to be broken or discarded in a few weeks or months at the most. This is something they'll keep until they're adults, and it could be a life-changing event for a child to get some Morgan silver dollars, to stimulate thought, to stimulate inquiry. Children are naturally inquisitive, and that's what I'll be doing. I'll be getting these 50 coins for my 3 grandchildren. We've got a 22-year-old who turns 23 in a couple of months, and the 13-year-old twins, a boy and a girl. And I know when I went to, almost said Ukraine. I didn't go there. When I went to Prague, I brought back some Czech coins and some Czech and some Euro dollars for the youngsters. And this is an opportunity for grandparents to help their grandchildren get something solid, something that's real, and something that they'll keep for decades in the future. Right, Steve?
Well, I believe so. I mean, my daughter is 15, and she's been buying silver, with some of her allowance money since she was 13. So, it's the sooner you can educate them and teach them about how important it is. Like I said, 9% a year, you're never going to find an investment that's going to top that. So if you can the sooner you can get them on board, and let them learn about how the economy works and how inflation works and how inflation got to find something, even in fine times, if you were to take everything away right now and stop worrying about the trade problems, you stop worrying about the currency, or you stop worrying about, the president being impeached and all the negative, and God forbid Hillary now wanting to run for president, but let's hope that doesn't happen. You take all this stuff away and you look at, just inflation. Inflation is, they say, between 8 to 12%.
It's insidious.
Wherever you live, you've got to find a way to make at least that so that you're not losing money every year.
Absolutely. Well, Steve, we're just about out of time here. Once again, if you want to participate in this, Morgan silver dollars, $18.50 a piece, shipping included, up to 50 per household. Don't try to scam this deal. Up to 50 per household. Give Steve a call at 800-630-1491. Well, Steve, I'll look forward to getting a report from you next week on how many people took you up on this offer. It's going to be a lot. You're going to be covered up with phone calls. I assure you of that.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, good. That's magnificent. What an offer, Swiss America, working with this opportunity for all of you out there, grandchildren. There's a lot to learn as a youngster growing up in this country, or any country as far as that goes. And so much of what they learn is smoke and mirrors. The Morgan silver dollars is something solid, something real, something that's backed up by tens of centuries of human involvement, of men and women keeping gold and silver coins for whatever future purpose they need them. That's reality. And we need to bring our children on board, our grandchildren on board, to get them that same knowledge. And having those, and when you're a youngster, those coins are so big and so heavy in their little hands. It really does get their attention. Here's our bottom of the hour break. We'll be right back. Yes, I have energy cleaners for sale. Yes, they will help you. If you have arthritis, what are you waiting for? Seriously? It's not going to fix itself. Get yourself an energy cleaner. You can order it right there at my website using PayPal, MasterCard, Visa. You can call my toll-free hour line 24 hours a day for an energy cleaner and a mattress pad, 800-592-9543. There's a lot of speculation on what's coming at us in the next 12 months. It'll be 2020 in 11 weeks. It will be the year 2020 in 11 weeks. In 12 months, we're going to have an election for the President of the United States. These 12 months will fly by. These 11 weeks will fly by. There's multiple scenarios being played out. The people who oppose us, the socialists, communists, Democrats, Muslims, they're not taking any chances. They have a plan A. They have a plan B. They have a plan C. Plan A is an attempt to remove this president from office, or make him unelectable by making so many accusations that people feel that he's done something wrong, which of course he hasn't. I'm pretty sure at this point that Hillary Clinton will be the Democratic nominee. The Democrats hope to keep her stable medically with whatever, probably half dozen or 10 or 12 medications this woman uses to give the appearance of being a healthy, normal woman, which she's not. Civil disorder is on the horizon. A lot of us talk show hosts know each other. I was interviewing Steve Quayle on a regular basis in 1998, 1999. I've known and worked with Dave Hodges now for 6 or 7 years. My friend Paul Martin, I visited him in person a number of times. Doug Hagman, I've known Doug, and we've interviewed each other on our mutual shows back and forth for a number of years. Lisa Haven, what a babe. I met her in Dallas, and we talked privately for a while. She does some good work. We all know each other. We all talk to each other, and there's a consensus that we're being set up we being the USA, we're being set up for massive civil disorder, possibly civil war, possibly United Nations troops being here, which I think they already are. You heard my interview with my friend Billy Bob Tuesday. If you haven't, go back to the archives. That would be the first hour, and it would be the second hour Tuesday for about the first 18 minutes or so. Billy Bob is my friend. He's my neighbor. He's an over-the-road truck driver. He gave his first-hand witness testimony about the 4 trains he personally saw this year between January and August. 4 train loads of United Nations marked armored vehicles, United Nations marked thin-skinned vehicles, transport trucks. These were not new trucks being delivered to seaports for delivery overseas. No. These were used vehicles going from the seaports towards the interior. And Billy Bob at the time didn't know how important this was. He thought, well, that's something. Isn't that unusual? He didn't think to take out his camera and get some photographs and video. He does now, and hopefully he'll get some more evidence of us. I don't know that he will at this point. He might not. But that's firsthand verification from a very dear friend of mine. I've visited his home a number of times. His wife and my wife were good friends. I bought eggs from these people every week for years. They're my neighbors. They're my neighbors. Wake up and smell the coffee, ladies and gentlemen. I've stepped up my personal preparations, doing things that I didn't plan on doing for a year or more in the future for my preparations. I want to be signing up for a entry-level marksmanship class with Sam Andrews there at Freedom Center USA. I'm a better marksman than 98% of the people in this country, on one hand. On the other, I don't know everything. I know there's room for improvement. I'm not a world-class marksman. I don't believe I'll become a world-class marksman, but I can certainly improve the skills that I have and improve the equipment I have. And once I've got those skills, I can help train others. I am an NRA-certified rifle instructor, pistol instructor, self-defense, and home defense instructor. But my skills can be improved. I have a concealed carry class coming up. I'm the main instructor. Sam Andrews will be my assistant instructor. They're at Freedom Center USA in Lebanon, Missouri, Saturday, November the 2nd. Sam can't resist. He wants to be part of this class, too, and he'll give some excellent pointers, as he always does. If you want to sign up for the class, give Sam a call. The tuition is $120. I issue a certificate to get your Missouri concealed carry permit at the end of the class. Sam's telephone number to sign up for the concealed carry training is 417-718-2597. I say again, 417-718-2597. If you have not had a first aid class in the last year, you need to get a first aid class. If you have not had CPR, I think they changed it about 18 months ago. They're always changing CPR and attempting to improve it. Sign up for a CPR class. Seriously, do that for yourself. It's not going to help me. Do it for yourself. Get a first aid kit equal to your skill set. It's not going to help me. I got first aid kits for sale under my Amazon products. Tomorrow morning, I'll be talking to Tom Berryhill, first hour, about emergency survival communications. I know during the Tet Offensive in 1968, we were desperate for solid information that we could count on. I believe it was the second day. My commander says, Moore, I want you and your buddy here to get in a Jeep and drive around town, make observations, come back and report to me your observations. I said, yes, sir. So I picked up my Thompson submachine gun and my 45 in my hip. My buddy had an M3 grease gun. He spent most of his adult life as a gourmet chef, by the way, in Columbus, Ohio. Great guy. We don't talk that frequently, but a great guy. We stayed in touch over these years. And we drove around Canto, that's Cantho, the capital of Fourth Corps, to make our observations and report back what we saw. We couldn't get information. We listened to the radio. That was limited, what was being put up by the American radio station there in Saigon. And I tell you that for the following reason. During a crisis, you will be desperate for real information, dependable information, timely information. That's why tomorrow morning is so important. Most of you aren't going to get a ham radio license. I know that. And in my preparedness group, every man and woman has a ham radio license. Every one of us. We've got a medical doctor. We had a dentist. We've got a nurse. We used to have a chiropractor before my wife died. We got contractors. We got business people in our group. Every one of them has a ham radio license. It's important. You got time now to get it. Using ham radio is not as simple as using your cell phone. There's knowledge you need in order to be effective and have it work properly. There's knowledge you must have. It's not optional. You don't want to be sitting there in the dark, in the cold, wondering what's going on in your neighborhood, in your county, in your state, nationwide. You really don't want to be in that position. And if you don't have the knowledge and have the equipment, that's where you're going to be. And it's human nature that your mind will go to a worst case scenario without good information. That's just human nature. It's not a good place to be. It's not. I know during the Tet offense, the guys were turning to me because I was in the. We only had 3 men in the intelligence section and a captain out of our whole battalion, and they kept turning to me for information. I told them what I knew, which was limited. Of course, I knew the Tet offensive was coming for months before it happened. That's the job of military intelligence. People make fun of military intelligence, but we know stuff. Our job is to know about things before they happen. And of course I knew months before it happened. And I was doing the same thing then as I'm doing now, making preparations. That fall of 1967, I was doing anything I could to get extra ammunition, which you may think was, why would that be an issue in a war zone? Well, it was. It was an issue getting my hands on extra ammunition. That fruitcake that my parents sent me for Christmas, I didn't eat it up. I kept it because I knew what was coming. I had other snacks that was being sent to me. I kept those snacks also. Made sure I had a supply of water there, and so forth. I'm doing the same thing now. I'm not saving up fruitcakes, but I've got my food. I got my ammunition. I got an unlimited supply of water in my Berkey water filter. Thank you very much. My goal is to have a safe haven for my family. Getting them here, that's going to be an issue, but that's my issue. You've got your own issues. I got a text message from my friend Steve Ben Noon. I hope to have him back on soon. He's doing some research he's diligently following up on. Steve's very concerned, and I share his concern about the possibility of civil disorder in this country. It's being called possible civil war, which we're kind of struggling to find something to call it. It doesn't fit the classic definition of civil war by any means, but we have to call it something. And I share that concern. Doug Hagman shares that concern. Dave Hodges, Lisa Haven, Steve Quayle, my friend Paul Martin. We all share that concern. And I hope that you will do your own research, come to your own conclusions, and make decisions that will help you and your family be safe. Be away from these cities. These urban, suburban areas, that's going to be the dangerous areas. Out here in the country, doesn't matter where. It could be upstate New York, upstate California, where they have no electricity right now, by the way. Most of the country is rural. And once you're away from these cities a good distance, you're going to be more or less safe. You need a safe haven. I'm not saying it'll be easy. I'm not saying it's going to be inexpensive. There's going to be some money involved. There's going to be some work you need to do, whatever it takes. You need a safe haven away from these urban, suburban areas. You do not want to be in an urban, suburban area when there's civil disorder. You simply don't want to be there. I know it's difficult. I know you might be struggling. John, I can't do that. Well, as long as you say it can't be done, it won't be done. You may find a safe haven with a relative, somebody you go to church with, somebody you went to college with, somebody you were in the military with. Whatever it takes, you need a safe haven away from these densely populated urban, suburban areas. I've got some information recently about Shreveport, Louisiana. Very disturbing information. I'm doing some follow-up now, and we may get a first-hand report as to who's doing what down there for what reason. But that's a story for another day. Tomorrow morning, I encourage you to listen to Tom Berryhill. Tom's been involved in ham radio for more than half a century. He's at when it comes to radio frequency engineering, Tom's right up there at the top. He's world class. There's not much he doesn't know about radio frequency engineering. He builds radios, he modifies radios, and he's the real deal. Just like my Monday morning guest, Sam Andrews, is the real deal. Following Tom, we've got my friend Dr. Lynn Wilbert. He spent much of his life teaching other doctors in seminars all over the United States. Great guy. He loves golf, by the way. He was my wife's personal physician, and he's my personal physician, Dr. Lynn Wilbert. I do my best to find guests that are highly qualified in their areas of expertise. Highly qualified, just like you heard Steve Hunt and that offer he's making. I'm going to get those 50 coins for my grandchildren. And they will keep those. They'll be, 50, 60 years in the future, they'll probably still have those coins. Most likely they will. Or if they need them in the meantime, they got them there for their use. It's a dichotomy. It's almost schizophrenic, quite frankly, to continue living what appears to be a normal life with your employment, your daily activities, your church activities, social activities, family activities, while at the same time making the preparations I'm suggesting that you consider making. You need balance. Some people will jump off the deep end and get their acreage in the forest someplace and make a complete total lifestyle change. And I understand that. If that's what you want to do, hey, go for it. Most people aren't going to do that. They have obligations that they just simply can't and won't walk away from. Financial obligations, employment obligations, family obligations, social obligations, and on and on. It doesn't matter where you are financially, even on the low end. Anybody can find 2-liter soda bottles, rinse them out thoroughly, and fill them up with clean drinking water. Everybody has enough financial wherewithal to be buying extra bags of beans and rice, a little tent. Homeless people do this. That's how they live. A small tent, a small camp stove to heat up food, a little camp kit to cook the food in, and so forth. Anybody can do that. If homeless people do it, you can do it. Don't be embarrassed about going to the secondhand store to get this kind of equipment. I do it all the time. I'm always looking for good quality sleeping bags at the thrift stores. They sell them for pennies on the dollar. Something that may cost $85 or $100 retail, I get for $5 at a thrift store. The inventory changes daily at those stores. I can't go to them daily, but when I get the opportunity, I do. Here's our break. We'll be right Thursday. It is Thursday, the 10th day of October. I inform, I educate, I admonish. I do a lot of things as a radio talk show host. I do. It's become part of my lifestyle here. It's 5 days a week, 2 hours a day. And I like it. I've been a radio talk show host since 1995, starting out on a weekly basis, and then becoming a full-time talk show host here at Republic Broadcasting. Republic Broadcasting has been a good home for me. Working with Mr. Statmiller has been very good. All the men and women at Republic Broadcasting are great guys and gals, and I intend to keep doing this indefinitely. No end in sight. Things change. Things always change. I don't know what's coming at us. I know what the plans are. The plans are, if you read the speech given by the top Chinese general at my website, they want to kill all of us, basically. That's what it comes down to. They want our stuff. They want our real estate. They want our infrastructure. I no longer believe that they'll use EMP nationwide unless they know they're going to lose, and it would be a Hail Mary thing that they would do, knowing that they were going to lose. But that's not what they want. They want to win, and they want an intact infrastructure, not a broken infrastructure. They want oil refineries that work. They want locks and dams on these rivers that work. They want airports that work. They want the power generating plants to work. So they're not going to use EMP for that reason, unless, like I said, they think they're going to lose. And then it would be, the hell with you guys, we're going to destroy everything with EMP. And it'd be the end of this country. Nationwide EMP would mean 9 out of 10 Americans dead the first year. That's not what they want. They don't care about the Americans being dead. They care about the infrastructure. EMP knocks out an oil refinery, it would be 3 to 5 years for that oil refinery to be back up and running. The locks and dams, same thing. The power generating plants, the same thing. The national power grid, 10 years maybe. And that's optimistic. 10 years maybe to get it back up and running to anywhere near what it was. So they're not going to do that. Localized EMP, of course. They have small EMP weapons, and of course they have ways to hack into the power grid using computers. It doesn't destroy anything permanently that they want to keep. That's what they're going to do. They're going to knock out command and control, knock out the ability of our military to defend us, so they can take us over and kill us. That's what they want. Well, all of you need to educate yourself.